that's one of the things that I wanted to ask, because so reading the I'm going to hold it up again because I like it, because it's cool. Reading the Maya O'Malley one, and I was struck by, so we have, I don't have it to hand, but we have My Family, Your Family somewhere in my house, just somewhere else.
I've got it here,
Oh,
Exhibit
there
A.
you go. Hey, there we go.
So I've been at an event today where I had all my books. So this is it. This is Myron Marley.
Yes. So one thing that struck me as a sign of, it's a there's a similarity and a difference between these two books, in that, like, the My Family, Your Family is like, the diversity and representation is like top of the thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't pick up My Family, Your Family and be like, oh, I wonder what the point of the book is, right? But the Maya O'Malley one, if you were to, it occurred to me that if I was to read this as an audio book, I might not hear. You would hear some stuff, but you might not hear as much. But it's the illustrations of where was the one that I particularly wanted to find? The illustrations of pages, like, where you've got this whole gang coming together, and there's a huge one of, like, everybody on this one of the whole adventure playground.
Yes,
And
that's right. Yeah.
So I really wanted to ask you, like, what's the process like when you're creating these works? Do you consciously go, this is going to be really, like, diversity representation, you're going to know this from the start, and then do you go, okay, this one's going to be a little bit more, well, I was going to say, like, subdued, but that's not the word I mean, like,
yes, I think that's a really good question, Liz. I think I know where you're coming from. So every author works differently in terms of if you're writing children's picture books. The way that I work is I have in my head, when I'm writing the book, creating the book, what I want the illustrations to look like and feel like.
Okay.
So I will then use Google search, because I can't draw even to mock something up. And so Myron Marley is based on my childhood adventure playground, Horniman's, in London W10. So it's based on there. So I had photographs of Horniman's, other adventure playgrounds. I had images in terms of what I wanted Myron Marley to look like, except the goats. So they were all sent to Urea, who is the illustrator, who's done a really good job. And there's little hooks in there of Grenfell, because Grenfell's in that community. So on one of the pages, you can see some Grenfell hearts if you look at it closely. But the other thing I wanted to point out, Lewis, which is really important in terms of the representation, it's clear to see Myron Marley are Black children. So if one didn't have the book in front of you, and you've listened to it by audio, on the second page, if you were from the Caribbean community, you would know definitely that these two children had Caribbean origin, because Myron Marley start the day with their favourite breakfast, cornmeal porridge. Maya loves the nutmeg and Marley loves the ginger. It reminds them of Auntie Bab's recipe from Grenada. So in terms of children's books, there was some research carried out 30 years ago by Dr. Rudine Bishop, looking at diversity and inclusion in children's books. And the term that she used quite beautifully is mirrors, windows and sliding doors. So mirrors, it's important that therefore then children see themselves in books. Right. So hence again, Black children can see themselves in Myron Marley. In My Family, Your Family, that's the more of the diversity. That's the mirrors. Then the windows is children then begin to look in and have that level of curiosity. And then the sliding doors is they step into that world and then they look at the similarities and differences. So children who haven't come across cornmeal porridge, that's going to spark some critical thinking, some curiosity to their growing up. What is cornmeal porridge? And so last week I was in a town near there, it escapes me, talking again about cornmeal porridge. What is it? The similarities between porridge and cornmeal porridge, that you add spices. And a parent messaged me and said, but my child doesn't like nutmeg, so that wouldn't work for them. So again, children are learning to their cultural bank around language. So we've got the geography in there, we've got the history in there for children to do that leaning in. Oh, they're learning.
Yeah. And that stuff is so, like, critical, isn't it? I know